inside the UPSL on TV Max and on TVEmax.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. That is at UPSL Soccer. I am your host, Alex Naveja, and alongside of me tonight is Ardef Takari and Dennis Pope, as we're here every Thursday to bring you guys the latest news on the fastest growing pro development soccer league, the UPSL. We'd like to welcome you guys to Off the Top, where we bring you guys the latest news on the lower division soccer. First stop is Casimir Raul from the Palm Beach Spartans, the best striker in the UPSL? I would like to start off with Dennis. Go ahead.
All right, sure. Yeah, I'll jump in there. He's really been scoring a ton of goals lately, and I think, really lightning quick wing forward type. I think everybody around Florida knows about him, and his reputation is starting to grow nationally. He was on the UPSL's all fall season team, so he does have a reputation, league-wide so far, and he's just bagging goals left and right for Palm Beach Spartans. They're really relying on him to produce numbers, and he's getting the job done.
So because of the job that he's been getting done, can this be the first UPSL MVP coming out of Florida?
Well, he's a strong candidate, that's for sure. I think if Florida has had a candidate for UPSL MVP so far, he's the strongest.
What about you, Art?
Yeah, I mean, in that last game where they beat Hurricane FC, they were down 2-0. They end up winning 3-2. All three goals coming in the last 10 minutes. Two of them from Casimir. That canceled out a brace from Taylor Brummett, and what a great game he had. And then, the winning goal from Ronaldo Voltaire, perfect way to win, plenty of excitement. Like I said, 2 goals from Casimir, one in the 80th minute, one in the 85th minute. Obviously, he's showing that he can score goals, anytime. Doesn't matter whether they're winning or losing, and how much time is left on the clock. He finds a way to get it done.
Yeah, I first heard about him early last season. People started to text me, hey, have you seen this guy Cazo? And I was like, who is this guy? So I started texting team owners, and they said, yeah, Casimir Raul, he's the real deal. You guys should really follow him, make sure that you know who he is, and see his highlights, because he's really something special. And I think, everybody's getting to see finally on Mike Cujo what he can really do, and I think it's exciting.
So speaking of Mike Cujo, now the UPSL goal of the week is finally just about underway, and I know that's almost coming up. What do you guys think this is going to mean now, another year for the UPSL goal of the week?
Well, such a success last season that we had to try and bring it back for this season. A lot of teams and players are asking for it, and they want to make this promotion a real thing for the UPSL. And so the Right Stuff, a partner of the UPSL, has stepped up and decided to sponsor the weekly winner and also the season champion with a series of product placement prizes for the weekly winner. And then there's some very exciting things that they have planned for the season champion, including a substantial cash prize and the ability to be a brand ambassador for them, or what they call I forget the term that they use, but basically a brand ambassador for the Right Stuff. And I don't think that's an opportunity that comes around very often, especially for UPSL athletes. So this is a really cool deal, and I'm really excited, to be able to announce this on behalf of the league. The UPSL goal of the week was something that created a lot of traction and a lot of traffic for the league on social media last season. So it's going to be a real cool deal to see it return.
Does that mean the person that wins, hypothetically speaking, when we get to that, does that mean, will there be a message saying that, hey, you won the goal of the week, so you got the right stuff?
If you want to, perhaps pitch them that idea, maybe. I don't know if they're marketing that way. I think they're trying to do their own thing, because they're a NASA-inspired and NASA-created product, so they're kind of using the marketing that way. But the Right Stuff, from the 80s, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that was your favorite band back then? That favorite
Whitesnake?
No. New Kids on the Block. Come on. I know you had their poster in your room. You used to always tell, your friends to hang tough.
Maybe my wife, but not me. Not me.
Dennis does look like he would have that in his room, right?
I agree. Yeah,
I am the oldest, so I guess it'd have to be me, if anybody, right?
You gotta hang tough.
So,
with the cat, right? You're talking about the cat with the little inspirational posters that say "Hang Tough."
Well, I was thinking more of that song "Hang Tough."
Oh, see.
But yeah, I'm going back to the late '80s. Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Despite me being maybe the youngest guy here, but I know what you're talking about on that one. But
all right. Now, awesome. We're impressed.
So we're all on the same page now.
We are.
We all know what we're talking about. Hang tough. All right. So Now, how about the people, the players that have started making some nice web jams and have been making some great goals before this contest was even announced?
Right,
What's going to happen there?
right. The season's been going on now for 7, 8 weeks, I think, since it started here in Southern California and Florida and some other places. And we have seen some great goals so far. So we're putting some ideas together, trying to think about what we want to do with the goals that have been presented so far. And we might do a contest along with the first week's contest. We might do something a little bit different. We're open to ideas, but we are going to incorporate the 4 best goals that we've seen so far this year into a contest to include them as part of the overall competition.
And now shifting our way to some pretty big news over in the NPSL Pro, where the Oakland Roots getting some recognition nationally as the Trailblazers. Their player Damian Lillard was wearing one of their shirts coming into the basketball court, along with even in the post-game press conferences. Pretty big stuff right then and there for the Oakland Roots. Big recognition right then and there. What is this going to mean for the league?
Well, Oakland Roots is a team that hasn't even taken the field yet, right? NPSL Pro and Founders Cup is still a ways off, but they're an organization already. They have really smart marketing, smart apparel, a great logo happening for them already. That's caught a lot of attention so far. And Damian Lillard, he, being from Oakland, he's grabbed onto that and he thinks it's cool. And so he wore one of their T-shirts the other night during a playoff game, right? And I don't think, a UPSL level team or a lower division team has had a more successful marketing push, and free marketing push at that. What is that worth to a club, to be able to see their product, their logo, their apparel on a big time, top tier 4 sport athlete, playing on national television, right? I don't think that's the kind of marketing you can pay for. So Oakland Roots is, already hitting the ground, with a successful marketing campaign. The company that they use to make the shirts is already well known in Oakland. It already does a lot of community projects there. So it's already a company that's sort of working within the community. And so Damian Lillard already knows about this company. And so I think it's just really working. And they're working there with the community. They've made some, fantastic strides, and there's a lot of excitement for Oakland Roots. And I think, that kind of groundswell of support for a team is rare, in America right now, and they're really, using it to their advantage. What would it take to see like a UPSL club get some of their stuff on somebody, in the NFL walking into their arena or whatever, they would have to be a hyper localized thing or something that's so super cool in terms of the logo that's ubiquitous with sports now. And are there logos out there in the UPSL that can reach that level? I think so. I think it just takes smart marketing, the right kind of push at the right time, and timing's everything. I mean, getting it on national television during the NBA playoffs is something that they'll never be able to replicate again. That first time seeing Damian Lillard in an Oakland Roots shirt is going to be something that's iconic for that club, the rest of their history. So kudos to them. That's awesome. I just think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. You can see him walking in with the shirt on, and even during the press conferences, those couple seconds, couple minutes of fame actually do make it actually count. A lot of people question, hey, what's that on his shirt? Who is this Oakland Roots team? So it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to come up for the Oakland Roots coming right up.
What do you think about NPSL Pro?
I think it's called NPSL Founders Cup, and it's hard to say, what I think of it. We got to wait and see how it comes. It's going to be a regional type of professional league. I think it has a chance to do well, but like you said, like for many things, we got to wait and see how it goes. But, continuing on with this, what we call this advertisement, right, for Oakland Roots, that's great. I'm impressed by it. I think it's even way better than that, like, that movie with, like, Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, where it was advertising Google the whole time. I mean, it was terrible. It was bad.
You're going to have to tell us
with
about
Vince
that
Vaughn
movie,
and Owen Wilson, where they were working at Google?
Yeah, the internship.
Okay,
it
gotcha.
was terrible.
Yeah. What is that?
So I mean, like, this is great advertising.
I see.
By Oakland Roots. I mean, this is just spot on, genius.
It's guerrilla marketing at its best. I mean, being able to get your logo out there in a space that's not at all associated with soccer is genius. It's absolutely fantastic for them. So, we would love to be able to see, Bavarian on somebody, you know, or some, you know, Cal United or Cal FC or LA Wolves or, you know, Mass United, somebody, you know, walking around with that kind of prestige as an NBA player, you know, walking into the arena with that. That'd be, you know, that'd be a famous moment in the history of the league if that's something like that would happen. I think, like I said, that'll be a historic moment for them going forward.
So we're going to go ahead and wait and see what the next big moment for the UPSL will be. But we're going to take our first break. But when we come back, we'll be time to put on our swing shoes as we're going to swing our way to the East Coast Swing. But fans, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. That is at UPSL Soccer. Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV EMAX. Now it's time to swing our way over to the East Coast Swing as we talk about the pressing topics in the UPSL East. First off, we're going to talk about Florida as they've been getting a lot of viewers over in Maicuju. Why is this, gentlemen? What's going on?
It might be game times. It might just be the interaction that those clubs already have with their fans and how much they've advertised their games on MyCujo. But yeah, they're drawing a ton of numbers, especially Port St. Lucie United, PSL United. They're getting over 1,000 fans per game these last few weeks, which is outstanding. I think they're leading the league in viewership so far, and that's something that, you know, goes without, you know, giving them, you know, all the credit that they deserve for that. So, you know, more for it for PSL United. You know, keep drawing those numbers in, keep driving viewers to MyCujo. Everybody loves it. You know, that's a fantastic thing for the partnership. So, you know, how do we get more teams to get to those kind of numbers there in Florida? Maybe PSL's got some best practices that they can share with some other teams. But yeah, that's a really cool thing. And not only on MyCujo, but some of the teams down there have been drawing big crowds as well. I know that they got around 2,000 people for the Tropics versus Clay County game this past weekend, which is phenomenal. I mean, that's the kind of numbers that, you know, really push numbers in your location. So, you know, Florida's doing something right. Christian Villejos, the conference manager, you know, he's done a great job bringing in some really high-profile teams, Boca Raton, the Tropics, a bunch of really solid clubs that he's made the UPSL Florida substantial lower division place in soccer.
So sharing is caring, like you said, and plus $2,000 would be pretty nice, I would say, to have on our back pocket as well. But now we're going to shift our way over to the Southeast as the Baltimore United FC defeated the world-class Premier Elite on the weekend. What were the results of this one?
Well, Baltimore United FC won 2-1 against world-class Premier Elite. And they said, you know, this was the first matchup between these longtime Maryland rivals, and, you know, definitely an exciting game. And right now, both teams currently have 12 points in the standings, so very exciting. But World Class Premier Elite has a game in hand, so we got to wait and see how things go. You know, having that game in hand is huge.
Yeah, it's back-to-back losses for World Class Premier Elite. They dropped their U.S. Open Cup qualifying 4th round match, and then they come back and they drop this game. So it's a tough stretch for them right now.
So moving forward, what would World Class Premier Elite have to do to get out of that slump right now?
Well, play maybe play a lesser team or two, to build some confidence. But they need to get back to winning to get back into the playoff race.
Now let's shift our way over to the Atlantic Caribbean, as there was a tie game right then and there, 2-2 ball game with the Seas Jamaica and the Forest Rover going on that one. Are we expecting something to brew going forward, or is
I think it could build the rivalry there a little bit at the top of the table. There's several teams there in the Atlantic Caribbean who are still in the mix. But this one was the marquee matchup of this last weekend, and to end in a 2-2 draw kind of leaves both teams sitting in the same position where they were when they started. So no ground to be given, no ground to be taken so far. But this does provide an opportunity for those teams that are sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th to kind of climb a little bit in games, so gain some ground on them. So I think it depends on how you want to look at this match. It doesn't seem like there was anything extracurricular happening so far, in the results from this match. It just looked like it was a good, clean match, a 2-2 draw, and really good, solid atmosphere, there where they're playing. They got a good location, and it was a really fun match to watch.
So some big things going to be coming up for those two. Looking forward to see if any rivalries are come up. As I always say, rivalries can be pretty good for the sport, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now we're going to make our way over to the northeast as Majid Saeed getting some scoring done over in Mass United, topping up against Lone Star in the season opener. Big game for that one, correct? Right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you know, the reigning Northeast playoff champions, getting 2 goals from their best player. And, Majid Saeed, he's played before. He's from that area. He's very well known. Played for UMass Lowell. I mean, in his junior year, he had 5 goals and 2 assists. So he's a well-known name over there. And I think this is obviously a very big win for Mass United over Lone Star.
Yeah, he was big for them in last year's in their playoff push to get to the national finals. He was a UPSL, I think, 3rd team selection. And so, yeah, he does, he carry a lot of respect for them and carry a lot of weight for them, too. He's their number 1 option up top, their big man, so to speak. And so to see him score 2 goals in the season opener and them get a win is a good sign, I think, for Mass United.
Do you think he should be seen as a captain, a role model of the team, somebody that the players should look up to?
Well, it's hard to say what his actual role is on that team without seeing it up close and firsthand. But I think, anytime that you have a player who scores goals, they're kind of going to be seen as, the star of the team. And they're the one getting their name in the paper and so on and so forth. But, does that player really take on the personality of a captain or more of a responsibility with the club? Maybe it's just enough that he can score goals, right?
I would agree, especially on that. Now, let's make our way over to the Midwest as the Indianapolis Old Boys, like we talked about last week. It's BHOYS,
Right.
not BOYS. Their player Tim Shackleton's goal is all over the internet. Do you think this could be a contender already for a goal of the week or potentially goal of the year?
Maybe. We talked about the potential for some of the early goals to be collected. This would definitely be one of them. He strikes this first time on a goal kick from his goalkeeper. I don't know if it's goal kick or a punt, but it came from the keeper, bounced once, and he hit it, volleyed it, midair, upper 90, just beat the keeper. It was a sweet, sweet goal. I'm sure if you look around on UPSL's Twitter or Facebook, you'll find the goal. It looked every bit a goal of a week contender for sure, and perhaps a goal of the year contender as well.
Should we be looking forward to seeing him down the line, at least in a goal in the week contender, Art?
Absolutely. I was on, social media earlier. The goal was awesome. I had to watch it a couple times. So, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think people would say, look, I want to do the Tim Shackleton when they're trying to do a shot? Would it be something like that?
Maybe there in Indianapolis, it'll become a thing, the Shackleton. Yeah, maybe.
It sounds pretty good, too, the Shackleton.
The Shackleton. Sounds like a sandwich that you would get at a local...
Hey, easy. You're going to start making me hungry. We're not even done with the show yet. But now, final stop. Let's make a stop over to the Central as the newcomer San Antonio Corinthians going to play a friendly against the Liga MX opponent. Looks like it's going to be the Santos Laguna playing on that one. What type of recognition is this going to bring in for San Antonio?
And this is a big thing for their club, obviously, to bring in a Liga MX side, caliber of Santos Laguna. I think speaks volumes to the capabilities of the front office to be able to schedule that, have the connections there in Mexico to be able to make all that happen. That's going to be a fantastic thing for their fans. I think the tough question is that with so many good teams, so many good UPSL teams now in San Antonio, is this the thing that separates them from that pack that includes Samba and Runners, and I'm missing another one. But essentially, is this the move that kind of elevates them to the point where the fans look to them as the number one UPSL team in San Antonio? And I think maybe. I mean, obviously there's going to be a huge Hispanic audience for that. They're going to go and see Santos Laguna. They're going to hear about Corinthians if they don't know about them already, because they've been around for a decade now already locally. And they're going to begin to follow Corinthians in the UPSL, and then they're going to begin to follow the UPSL, which is hopefully the pattern that it takes. And so bringing Santos Laguna in is masterstroke. To be able to do that for their front office is really cool.
And I think that'll be a big deal for the UPSL as well. That's going to bring more of a crowd, more recognition, more people going to want to know what is the UPSL. Oh, I want to play for the UPSL,
Right.
or I want to take part in the UPSL.
And this sort of thing has happened before. There's been teams here in Southern California who've played, like Cholos Tijuana and some other clubs from Mexico before. And so it's not out of the realm of the UPSL to be able to do this. But it is a first for a team in Texas, a UPSL team in Texas that we know of, recently, to be able to do this. I'm sure, other clubs have done this before. They have a very close relationship. There are people in Texas with the people of Mexico. So I don't think this is something that's brand new, but it is the newest version, right? And I think there's a lot to be excited for about that.
So unfortunately, the song called The East Coast Swing has come to an end. But when we come back, we're going to go ahead and say what's up to the UPSL West Side.
Mr. John manages a small football club with just a few followers. Every day he wonders, how can I attract more supporters? Internet is the answer, but a channel is time-consuming, expensive, and hard to maintain. Everything has changed since Mr. John met MyCujo, the football broadcasting solution for small and medium-sized clubs and leagues. Mr. John noticed how everything has started to change quickly when supporters and fans began to arrive. If you want your club to enjoy the same benefits as Mr. John's, sign up with MyCujo.tv. Attract more followers for your club and empower its business now. MyCujo, democratization of football broadcasting. MyCujo.tv.
Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV Emax. And now it's time to say, what's up, UPSL West Side? As we start off with the Southwest. Sporting AZFC going against FC Grande. Season opening set for May 4th. Can a rematch resume? And as far as the rivalry is concerned, is that rivalry going to come back?
I think this is the one that we can look forward to progressing in seasons to come. They played in the playoffs last season. Sporting AZ, has a great program. I don't think anybody questions what their ability is. So to see FC Grande sort of rise up and try and take a spot away is going to be motivation for Sporting AZ. I think it's going to be an important thing for them. Competition in the Southwest has been light. So to see, teams that have, positive caliber the way FC Grande does is an important thing for Sporting AZ and their progress. They want to be able to play against quality teams. And so I think, anything that sort of sparks interest in this matchup, and it's always, in a rivalry setup, it's not the first punch, right? It's how that second punch reacts and how it progresses after that. So I think if FC Grande can put on a good show, get a result, I think it could do something for the rivalry going forward.
I think it should be a really good matchup considering how good Sporting AZFC is. And I think it'll be pretty tough for FC Grande to be able to take on Sporting AZFC.
It will be, yeah.
So now let's shift our attention over to the mountain region as Boise FC and San Juan FC are going to renew their rivalry this Saturday. Any predictions on that?
Oh, it's probably going to be high scoring, I would think. We could probably see 4-3 or 5-3 or something like that in this game. I think they're playing indoors at San Juan, and so the conditions will be good, which will probably lead to a lot of scoring because both of these teams have a lot of good attacking talent. So, I think I'm probably dead on with that. It's probably going to be 3-2, 4-3, something like that. There's going to be a bunch of goals. It's going to be like Man City and Tottenham today. Somebody I think is still scoring in that game. So, I think this will be just the same way, 5-4, something like that.
A lot of scoring going on, and it seems to me like rivalry seems to be the theme in tonight's show. A lot of rivalries going up, a lot of matchups coming up for the UPSL. But now the Pacific Northwest, as the first scheduled game in Alaska, looks to be coming up in June 7th. Can this be the start of something big over there in Alaska?
I think so. I mean, it takes time to grow the division, but this is a start. I mean, it sounds exciting, right? Alaska City FC against Arctic Rush. I mean, like the names of the team, had to bring in Arctic there. Genius. But yeah, this could be the start of something big, and it all depends on how things go from here on out. More teams join the league, the better. Maybe eventually you start getting two different divisions or two different conferences in Alaska. Yeah, this is exciting news.
I think to even have this game on the schedule already matched up for June 7th, which is 6 weeks or more away still, but to have that as a day to mark on those people's calendars is big. To be able to look forward to a UPSL game in Alaska, I think it's a grand. It's going to be a grand affair for Alaska and for the UPSL. It's going to be really, really awesome.
Definitely, probably the biggest news in Alaska. I mean, I remember during 2008 there was some kind of election. I don't think there was anything big coming out of Alaska.
No.
So this is really, really important.
For sure, the biggest thing ever to happen in Alaska by far.
Definitely.
And then I think you could definitely say some more viewers over in Maikuju for this.
Hopefully those teams get their Maikujo platforms up and running, and we're able to really get a good look at the facilities that they have there and the talent that they have there. I think that's the most important thing. People want to see what's going on with Alaska soccer, what's the level, and so putting Maikujo up is going to be a big factor for that.
Can we expect viewers to go as high as Florida? Or
I don't think it's a start, but I'm going to be watching, so they got at least one, right? But
so it's because you're watching, that should count as 5 or 10 viewers?
No, I'll stick with just one for now, thanks.
So now let's focus on NorCal. And gentlemen, please answer me this question. What is going on with Nevada Coyotes FC, Real San Jose, and Oakland Stompers? What's going on with these teams? I mean, they've been a bit of a slump with the three of those teams combined currently.
They're kind of all pretty bad right now. Combined 1 for 9 so far in their games, 1 victory over 9 matches. And I think the only win amongst those 3 teams is by Nevada Coyotes. And all 3 of those made the playoffs last year, so up there in NorCal. So it's been a tough start for them. I don't know why so slow getting going, but that's going to be a tough way to start the season. They're putting themselves in a hole to start, and allowing teams like Contra Costa and the Pajaro Valley. What did I pronounce? I don't know if I pronounced
Pajaro?
Pajaro.
There you go.
Reading Royals also.
Reading Royals, to get off to good starts, and it sort of turned the league upside down a little bit, or the division upside down a little bit. So it'll be interesting, certainly, to see if they're able to rebound and make something of this season.
What about you, Art? What are your thoughts as far as these 3 teams currently?
Well, look, the division, it's called the Wild West for a reason. And this is exactly what we're seeing. We're having some strange things happen. It's unexpected, but we know what everyone says, you snooze, you lose. If you don't bring in your best squad, if you don't come in with the right game plan, if your coach isn't doing his homework or preparing their players, these kinds of things are going to happen. And there is a lot of time left in the season. There's still a good amount of games left to be played, but all 3 of these teams, like Nevada Coyotes, Real San Jose, Oakland Stompers, they gotta wake up. That's what they gotta do. Nothing more.
Yep.
Just like you said, Wild Wild West, Cowboys trying to go for the guns, draw, and they ended up missing their mark right then and there. Can't get the accurate shots. But now, final stop over to SoCal as the Alta California Soul. They suffered their first loss after their 8-game winning streak. How shocked are you guys of this?
Well, it had to happen sometime, right? Statistically speaking, they're going to have to lose a game at some point. They'd won 8 to start the season, which is a fantastic start to their UPSL debut inaugural season. They're really putting themselves in a really solid position there to be promoted after this season to the Pro Premier. But I think everybody saw when Santa Monica United came in. Santa Monica United is a massive youth club here in Southern California. They have hundreds, maybe if not 1,000 or so kids in that youth program, and so they were going to sort of leverage that and their community support to create what is probably already a super competitive men's side into a UPSL team. And so the talent was already there. It just took, probably getting their feet under them a little bit in the UPSL to start cranking out results. And I think we should probably look for more of this from Santa Monica United. They're a real contender in the championship division. Art and I talked about them on the podcast several weeks ago as possibly being a team that could see themselves in a position to be promoted later this season. So this game, if they get a chance to play again, for promotion or down the season or whatever, will be probably the best game again to watch in the championship division.
So are you saying that Santa Monica United could be the new team to be promoted here?
With a 2-0 victory over Alta California Sol, I mean, that's a pretty solid performance. Most people would look at that and say, hey, that's a clear signal of their intent, and I think, at the same time, Alta California Sol had to face a loss at some point to sort of recalibrate. They weren't going to go through the season undefeated, I don't think. This sort of resets everybody. It sort of, everybody gets a snapshot at the season, gets to see where they're at, and how much work is going to be needed to be done to get where they want to be.
Well, I mean, one thing also worth pointing out is that according to the standings, Santa Monica United has 2 games in hand and trails Alta California Sol by 5 points. And Santa Monica United has 6 wins and a tie. USA Soccer Stars, who are in second with 22 points, have 7 wins and a tie. And Santa Monica United will be playing USA Soccer Stars this coming weekend. So that is the game to watch. That is the game to watch. Whether you're gonna try and find it on, whether you find it on Mais Cujo or it's really not that far from here. So maybe we could all just carpool and maybe hit up a Denny's or something on the way. It can be done.
Waffle House. Right?
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
Yeah, I like both of those ideas, but there you heard it, guys. Art is going to be carpooling the game and driving us over to the Santa Monica United game, but that's all the time we have left here in Inside the UPSL. We thank you so much for tuning into tonight's show, and of course, as always, thank you to Dennis Pope and Art F. Dakari for being on the show, and I was your host, Alex Naveja. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a happy Easter, everybody.